silent. Be still.
Always free with
That's why mine are always black.
There we go.
Hereafter, so that we remember our bonds, we shall always come together in a circle.
It's not so much chill. We hit so many different topics and jump all over.
To hear and tell of deeds good and brave.
You went full cookie puss.
Hi, I'll just look.
I will build a round table where this fellowship shall meet.
So that's why it's the round table. We're all equals here.
Well, at least I'm not pulling a rickshaw.
Remember it well then, this night, so that in the years ahead, you can say, I was there that night.
There's a lot of shots being fired.
And it sounded like somebody was sucking down their microphone like a slack jaw bundle of sticks.
Whoa, there's no game frogs here.
Good and evil, there never is one without the other.
Where hides evil then in my kingdom?
Always where you never expect it.
It passes through Antifa ranks. It smells like cat piss and kitty litter.
Yeah.
And patchouli. I know a few YouTubers who smell like that.
And look upon this moment. Savory. Rejoice with great gladness.
And welcome to the round table.
For it is the doom of
Men that they forget.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Roundtable. We're still reviewing Arcane. This is the last 3 episodes of Season 1. So 7, 8, and the season finale 9, which, again, really amazing stuff, powerful stuff, too. What they did in these 3 episodes, again, some jaw-dropping, incredible storytelling. And again, the music too that played. I literally just finished 9 again, like a couple minutes before we started the stream. I made sure I get my extra notes down here because again, like you can hear him here. I feel like Alex Jones. No, but but no, yeah, I wanted to make sure again, taking after Trina here because she writes fantastic notes every time we cover the Hannibal series, which has been fantastic. Rewatching again with her over on her channel, Real Horror. So like I want to be extra prepared for these. So here we are. And RR, thank you, brother, for being the first one in here. He goes round tablers assemble. So hell yeah, man. Of course, Trina's saying hello as well. So am I. And so speaking of Trina, here we are. Here's my co-host for the not just for the night, but for the entire series. And Trina, how you doing tonight?
I am well. I'm happy to be here with you and Adam. I'm ready to discuss this. And hello to everybody out there watching. Yeah,
like I said, I've been excited. And yeah, kind of we've been waiting all week because I know you guys have been loving it. Tina's usually with us as well. She might not be on for tonight. There's some family stuff going on. So again, sending good prayers and thoughts and everything. This week was really rough. Some news that I got too with family members. So again, trying to keep it a positive stream, something cool. And we've been enjoying this. So happy to have at least a bit of a diversion for a couple of hours as we get into this really cool series yet again. And of course, speaking of which, we have super fan Adam Shawhan, which another guy who absolutely loved this. Probably watched it more times than I have. Adam, welcome, my friend.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, talking about watching more times than you had. I mean, I'd watched it like 5 times back to back. So just the fact that Trina watched it for the first time, because again, you and I discussed this off air, Vinny, a little bit, and it'd been a while since you'd seen it. So yeah. I mean, I was so happy that you wanted to do this and invited me to be a part of this. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, this is going to be great because, again, the art within the art, the storytelling, the music, the way it all fits together. Oh, beautiful season.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, 10 out of 10 for me, man. And I know that's a little early, but, man, for me, yeah, this is perfect.
No, it's perfect. You can give your score whenever you want. I mean, because, again, 10 out of 10 all the way as well. This thing has been epic on every level. And again, it's hard to find really good series and things to talk about, especially in this climate and all this shit. But I know a lot of people they get their panties in a twist over certain designs and stuff, and they're thinking that it's one thing, and it's really not. And this series kind of shows that anyway. It's no
different art styles, how they clash, but they in a good way. It works. Sometimes they'll do like a different animation style, and I'm not really a big fan of it. They did it with some of the DC stuff where it got kind of weird. It was like a Superman of Tomorrow or something. The Knuckles looked kind of funky and whatnot. And again, it's just the anime. I'm not an expert or anything. Just my opinion on it.
Yep.
But the way that they do certain things in here, and then it foreshadows and then goes back. It's just perfect.
They borrow a page from a lot of different things too. And since it is a European art studio that made this, you could tell their influences and what they put in there. And again, key point to this kind of art style was originally the guys from Riot Games. They saw a couple of their music videos that they did, and especially in the opening of 7, it's playing like a music video, because we're being introduced to the Fireflies, which we've seen them on the other episodes. This episode we get more into it, and I believe the name of this episode was "The Boy Savior." Really good stuff.
We ended last week, and then going into this one. What a way to open, right?
Oh yeah. And the other key thing I need to say, and I know I think that's the only thing we forgot, is Victor when he goes back as an adult to Singe, the kind of mad doctor who's working for Silco, and he tells him, he's like, I understand now, because I think he still has in the giant jar like that huge salamander looking creature thing, like the body of it, because he's still using it and kind of experimenting and doing his thing with it. And he goes, I understand now. I understand why you did what you did. Because as a kid, he was really upset, kind of like ran away from him. But he's willing to help him now. And they're basically like because he told Jace that he's going underground because he has someone who could possibly help. So that's kind of why Victor went down there. But he didn't tell him who he is. And he's leaving Jace in the dark about that, which we'll get into during this episode as well, because there are some really big things that happen. But before I do
learn why, Vinny, in this first episode. I mean, and again, we didn't know that when we left from the last episode. Like we had questions, and man, they get answered in this series. That's what I love.
Yeah. Oh, they absolutely do. And that's the thing though, like, because again, when we get into season 2 after the holidays, when's that going to be? January, maybe the 12th, I think. Trina, you said you're coming back to streaming on the 7th, right?
Whatever that Tuesday is, 7th or 8th. Okay. Yeah, I think it's the 7th.
All right. Well, then we'll come back with season 2. I'll drop you messages as reminders too. So the 12th, then we'll come back with the start of season 2. But for those who are watching or you're watching with us, that cliffhanger, we had to wait a couple of years. You guys are only going to have to wait about a week and a half or so.
Yeah, that is definitely a bonus to coming into it late. Is that I can just, I haven't been, but I could just watch the entire series all at once. I love binge watching.
It's one of those things where you could, and then we'll get back into we'll do 3 at a time again, because that's kind of what I did anyway with this. I know Adam did the same. Because as we break it back down into 3s, because rewatching it, you pick up a lot more. You see a lot more that you might not have seen the first time around. So that's the other real benefit of this series. Because again, the animation's so beautiful and there's so much going on. So it's a damn good time. But like I said, before I start breaking this down now and we start getting into it, I want to give a big shout out to Sean Etep from the chat. He sent me a gift, a nice surprise as well. I was not expecting whatsoever. So thank you for the Christmas gifts. Again, not expecting it. You and Adam, you guys have been fantastic. And kind of in a much needed way, those gifts arrived. So timing was right on par with that. And I couldn't be more grateful. So you guys rocking. I'll drop more info on stuff like that too later. But let's get into this because there is a lot to cover with these 3 episodes. I like stained my table with I was writing my notes down here. Yeah, I was saying that before we started. But holy crap, yeah, this is good. By the way, I might still be streaming anyway on the Sundays. Just we're not going to cover season 2 until Trina and anyone else who wants to jump on is available for it. But all right. So the opening of 7, again, like I said, starts off with a music video. We kind of get these glimpses of like these like graffiti and stuff being spray painted, and it's a different style from what we're seeing throughout the rest of the series, which is kind of cool. And you see the Fireflies with their masks on, mostly white backgrounds, and then like the green spray paint and stuff. And you see them kind of like almost like doing tricks like on a skateboard, but it's their gliding boards. So they kind of wanted to key you in on what we're about to see and who we're getting into. And so then we cut back to the regular animation, and Vi and Caitlin are bound. They're somewhere with like bags over their heads, and they're kind of bickering. They're tied up. Kate's pissed off. She mentions like, how come you didn't tell me that Jinx is your sister? Like, she started flipping out. And Vi's like, well, why didn't you tell me what's that blue gem, that crystal that they're looking for? And then she stayed silent. She goes, yeah, so I see we got a couple of things we need to work out here. So as they're kind of bickering, but you can still tell that they care for each other, and that's why they're upset that they were holding things from one another. But
I took it at bitching at each other instead of stressing over the bag over your head, right?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing that's what's mentioned too. She goes, well, they're gonna kill us, and Vi's like, we got bags over our heads. If this was Silco, we would have been dead already. Yeah, so yeah, that's a really good, valid point.
Women be like.
So as they're bickering like that, the door swings open. You hear like someone came in there, and they grab Vi. So as she's getting taken away, you could see Caitlin's like, "Wait, don't take her, don't hurt her!" Like she's like flipping out. You could tell she's protective over her anyway. But yeah, so you could tell that they're worried, obviously. So yeah,
and it felt more in my opinion. Mm-hmm. That whole bit felt more the protective of her job, right? Because she's one of the city, regardless of the fact that she's rich. Mm-hmm. She is the officer here in this situation.
That is true, but I mean, technically they're there together as well, and because they each left out a little bit of information, that's why they're captured as well. So that's why like the bickering is it works between them. But yeah, as they get pulled away, you see Vi's kind of by herself. Her mask, her potato sack is taken off of her head, and she's face to face with like I guess the leader of the Fireflies, who's still wearing his mask. Yeah, she's like, are you gonna take that thing off? Are you deformed or something? And as he takes it off, you see it's Echo, and he's the little black kid from the first episodes. And yeah, that was him the whole time with that stopwatch and everything. And as he takes off his mask, he goes, "You look pretty great for a dead girl." And and he's all upset, like what the hell are you doing here and all this, and how'd you come back and all that. And she's kind of like breaking down too, in her own way. It's almost like siblings fighting, because it's like, why didn't you tell me you were alive, that type of deal. And as they're kind of having this back and forth, Vi gets out of her handcuffs, and she grabs him, and she's like, "Little man, I've missed you." And she hugs him, and as she's hugging him, he's like, you can see a tear coming down his face as well. Mm-hmm. He's like, "How long have you been free?" She goes, "How long have you been bitching?" So it's good. I like their kind of the way that they it's like they didn't miss a beat, even though they're a little bit older now.
Was as hesitant as he was, did you not feel it was more because of the damage that's been done? It's hard to believe it's actually her,
Yeah.
He thought she was legitimately dead.
Yep, everyone did. Because when Marcus took her, he threw her in that prison. She's been there for all those years. So yeah, I mean, she's a character that really went through a lot. Mm-hmm. That's why I like that there's a good focus on her, But like I said, there's really touching moments throughout this whole thing, but there's so much bigger stuff going on as well, and kind of where it's gearing up into. So again, like I said, brilliant writing. But yeah, I like that connection, and that they missed each other and all that. And then we cut to Singe, the Mad Doctor, and Victor in the underground. Oh yeah, I said that before. Yeah, that he understands his methods and all that. Okay. Oh, it was in this one. Why was I thinking that was in 6? Oh, 6 is when he went to him and said he wanted to look for his help or whatever. But yeah, when they're having a deeper conversation now about what he needs to do, and he goes, "What about your partner?" And he's like, "Jace," he goes, "He's never going to understand this." So, what do you call the doctor? He's like, "Well, I could give you something that might be able to help," because he's kind of telling him a little bit about this hex core thing and the organic kind of changes and stuff that it's doing, but they need to stabilize it. So he gives him a version of Shimmer. It's like a new kind of I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it, a new kind of variant of it, essentially.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, trust the science.
Even a more potent version from the way the doctor's reacting.
Yeah. It's, you can tell too, man, because Singe, for as evil as he is, he does have there's more behind it, because if you guys remembered in the first couple of episodes, he had a daughter that was sick he was trying to save.
RR's nailing it in the chat.
Get your Shimmer boosters. Buy one, get one free.
Oh God. Okay, and also in this segment, wait, are you done or are you still going?
You can keep going.
All right, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
No, I said you could go. You can keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so we find out that Singe and Heimerdinger parted ways for the similar reason, for basically the same reasons as Victor and Singe parted ways.
Yep.
For Singe's kind of questionable research.
Yeah, like kind of the morality between all that.
Yeah.
He mentioned he'd seen this before. And hello,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So I mean, there's all these little things that they drop these little sprinklings of knowledge here and there that, again, once you rewatch it or you're really paying attention, you're going to catch more of it. So that's what's really cool. So, but yeah, so he gives him that, and he tells him like he should be able to figure something out with the hex core and that that's that kind of magical Rubik's cube that is doing lots of crazy stuff. Which, especially in these episodes, it's going into more insane places. And Adam knows when we get to season 2. But yeah, this is it's pretty intense. So then we have Jace. He's working in his hammer shop. This is the first time we're actually seeing him doing his family business kind of thing, but he is working on some stuff. And Mel comes in, the black chick with the gold tattoos and all that stuff, and she's talking to him. They're having the conversation. Jace, he had that bomb that he was given from Marcus that they found on the bridge, or so he claims, and he's upset about it, and he knows that like with the stolen blue gemstone there, the hex stuff, that they'd be able to make some really heinous and destructive weapons. So he's trying to prepare. He's working on some stuff right now, and she's kind of pushing him in that direction. He is very upset at what the hell happened, and mostly about what happened with him and Heimerdinger.
Yes.
And she kind of like she's kind of supporting him and nudging him away, and says like it needed to be done. Like we need to protect kind of what's going on. We need like this kind of fail-safe thing of these hex weapons. So yeah, you can tell that she's kind of putting some poison in there, but at the same time, they're not entirely wrong.
I know, that's the thing. Like, you've got two competing ideas. You've got Heimerdinger, who is like, no, we don't. This stuff is bad. I've seen what it can do. And then you've got like Jason Mel, who want to use it to like for progress and to protect the city and all that stuff. It's like they're kind of all right.
Because it's the thing, it's like that slight kind of morality thing of should we do something a little bit bad in order to do something way better, like and that's what's kind of like the theme that's throughout the entirety of the series as well. it's these characters who are like they're on the edge of making a right or wrong decision, and
Yeah.
either way, it's still something is still going to be like slightly wrong about it. It's really interesting, but it's a lot like life's kind of dilemmas and things that we kind of go through.
Mhm.
So,
Well, and each character's what they're going through at that precise moment.
Yep.
You know, literally, it's it's all about your point of view.
oh yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
oh it really is,
Character's
yeah.
point of view.
And they see that's a great point too, because we're seeing from like the ultra poor side and then the super high elite side. You know, we have the people that are in the middle, or some people who came from the underground who are now in the upper society, and vice versa, especially throughout these episodes that we see in these three. And you can see how some of them they're picking up on both sides, and others they kind of see their own way still. So it is interesting, and that's I do like the dilemmas that they put in there, and again the reality of it.
Yep.
You know, considering it's still we're in a fictional world, you know, a fantasy world. So pretty amazing stuff. So we get now to Silco and Savika, that kind of Indian looking chick with the robot arm, and they're talking about the bridge lockdowns and basically how she thinks Marcus might have flipped at this point. You know, and Silco, he wants to go look for Jinx, and Savika pretty much says like, you know, being a daughter and having my issues with my father and all that, you should leave her alone and she'll come to you. Because basically Jinx found out that Silco was lying about Vi and possibly about other things. So again, she's still very pissed. But yeah, it was refreshing to see though too that Savika wasn't killed. Jinx, because the last we saw her, she was upside down, out cold, and on her arm was written "liar" right above Silco's desk.
That was savage. Yeah,
it was. I love what ends up happening with Jinx anyway too. But we're on our way there. So, but yeah, because the character, she was cool, and she gets even more insane and destructive. But there's almost like more purpose now to it. And yeah, it's really good stuff. So now speaking of Jinx, we get back to her, and she's pissed off, and she's trying to patch herself up because we last saw her alone again after her sister gets kidnapped by the Fireflies, and she's got a nasty cut on her leg, and she's like throwing shit around, and she's having like a breakdown in the mirror again, kind of, but more on the piss side, not really a total breakdown in the other way. It's more of like, she wants to get these bad guys, and she's sick of being alone and all that stuff. But yeah, as she's kind of sitting down, she's seeing like these little they call them firelights. Like these little bugs that are like the globe bugs that we used to see during the summer and stuff. They sort of look like that, but like with bigger wings. And she sees one of them that's kind of, they're all around the underground, but kind of sporadic. And she's looking at one as she's sitting down, and she puts her fingers up, and she does like the finger guns to it. Like as she like winks, like she's also forming a plan, which again, the first time I watched it, I had to rewatch that episode, and I'm like, oh, okay. Because I sort of missed that, but yeah, we'll get into that. It's coming up towards the end of this episode. But so yeah, now we're back to Echo, and he's educating Vi.
Where she's stapling herself, like the way that her psychosis to be able to do that on her own.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, that's a big deal. I just want to say that in the art, the way they did it, how she's arguing with herself, but there ain't nobody there.
Oh yeah. She's like a villain right out of the Batman stuff. Like, but I love how tough she is for someone who's supposed to be like, she's that small and she made all those mistakes as a kid. She's a survivor, and she's proven it.
But we get to see her mistakes follow her. Again, she's stapling herself. There's nobody there to help her because of her mistakes. It's crazy.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But on top of it, too, like that injury she got is because she stopped, because she hesitated, because she wanted to try to save her sister as well. Yep. And that she wasn't really paying attention of the guy who was on the floor. Because, normally she's a damn good fighter from what we've seen in those first episodes. But, as she got, what was it? 4, 5, and 6, rather. But yeah,
we're about to find out more from Echo, because I did interrupt you. I do apologize. I just wanted to make sure I brought that up, because man, to me that was a big moment.
Oh, it is. That scene's great. All of her scenes have so much emotional impact too, to the story, to the character, and like kind of like, again, her psychosis, which is just, it's excellent. Really great job. But yeah, so yeah, well, we're with Echo now and Vi, and he's educating her on the damage that Silco did. So as Vander got taken out, and kind of how like Silco kind of took over, and Shimmer went everywhere, and they basically said it is like everyone, like most of those people turn into drug addicts, but they have like a refuge. It's kind of like a hideout that has a beautiful, huge tree, and it's a beautiful area. And she's like, what are you guys doing? Like, how did you even get here? Type of thing. And it's like, these are the survivors and the people who didn't want to be affected by the underworld and what was going on. So they kind of like, they planted this tree, and they've been there, and it's like a cool little refuge for them. I like how they did it. It was really good. And you can see that there's like a family dynamic with the survivors that are there and the people that are basically like in his team of Fireflies. So yeah, they do what they could to try to fight back against them. But yeah, he's got the underground. He's like a kingpin under there, and there's sort of like in New York with the 5 boroughs type of thing, and you'll have like one big mafia boss over all of it. So in these episodes, we're going to see there's a couple other little factions. There's like this Asian guy. There's another chick with like this kind of big fur coat thing and a weird breathing apparatus thing on her nose. Yeah, so you kind of see that there are other groups down there. They're all kind of trying to get more power and stuff, but they're all underneath Silco's thumb, since he's the biggest manufacturer of Shimmer, and he's got his hands deep into the top side, especially with that Marcus, as he's got the sheriff basically in his pocket. So again, that's why I love all that stuff. The underground stuff is so perfect to like the kind of mob criminal world, and then we have like the Game of Thrones kind of stuff happening topside.
You could literally put the penguin in there.
Yeah, right. It's our character like him, right?
Yeah.
Poor Vic. No, but yeah, getting back to this stuff. Where the hell was I? So, oh yeah, he shows her because like Vi, she believes that she can still save her sister, and Echo keeps saying that she's too far gone. She works for him. Like she chose to work for Silco, and he goes, "I want to show you something," and he basically brings it to this giant mural, and it's of all the people who kind of died for their cause and who was fighting the good fight. And you see again, Vi is there because they thought she had died. The younger version of Jinx, which was Powder, because they said she's pretty much gone. It's just this Jinx who's there, who's doing all this damage. You see Vander. What was the chubby guy's name? The one that was the father figure to Echo.
Vander?
No, not Vander.
Yeah.
The chubby
Benzo.
Guy, Benzo. Yeah, and he's on the mural as well. Was there someone else? Were their parents on there, or like the silhouette of their parents?
I'm not sure, but their friends. Milo and Clagger were on there.
Oh yes, that's right. Which I didn't know. Yeah, Clagger. He was voiced by the guy who played Ezio in the Assassin's Creed games.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and the guy who played his name was Yuri. I can't remember his last name. He played Peter Parker in the Spider-Man video game. He was Milo. So that was cool that they actually had pretty big names in the video game world who actually did the voices for them.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
That was pretty neat. Roger Craig something or Craig Rogers something was that's the Ezio guy, which he also played Chris Redfield in Resident Evil. So in the last couple of games. But back to this though, I just thought it was an interesting fun fact there. We do have we're now Victor. He's on the bridge, like he's trying to make his way back over to Piltover, the fancier part, and he stops. So he's sitting there, he's waiting. The enforcers come over, and Marcus he brings Jace over. He's like, yeah, he's on the bridge over here, and Jace he goes over to him. He's like, what the hell are you doing here? He goes, what's going on? Because Victor had no idea they put a blockade on the bridge, and he's like, you just undermined me. You put these people here. He's like, yeah, because the underworld or basically the people of Zon there. We're having some major things are happening, and I need to protect the people up here. So he's like, you could tell Victor doesn't like it. He wants to help people. He doesn't want this kind of shit to go down. So
is this where he reminds him I was a
Yes.
I was from the underground. Oh, I can't remember what they call it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because Jace is so worried about what could possibly happen, he forgot that yes, his partner is from there.
Yeah, because he insults him without realizing it, and
Yeah,
because he
it's
goes
like, hey, you know, they're real. You know, I'm literally standing right next to you.
Yep. Yeah, it's like he's like he wanted to hit him in the head. He's like, hey. But that was good, and that was important because you could see though how they still have a major respect and bond, like a brotherly bond, Jason Victor, because he like when he's told that it hits him, it's like, oh shit, you're right, like I'm an idiot, like we'll figure this out, but we gotta get off this bridge now, basically, because he insulted Victor with that indirectly, and but he goes, well, what were you doing? Because you were trying to find help, right? Because was your friend able to help? And Victor lies to him, and he's like, no, I thought he'd be able to, but he couldn't. He's like, well, don't worry, pal, we'll figure this out. And they kind of, as they're walking back, someone throws like a Molotov cocktail in their direction, and he's like, see, like shit's getting bad.
Doesn't he say like about he's like, was your friend able to help you? And doesn't he say something like there's nothing that nature can do to help me?
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, implying that what he's gonna be helped with is unnatural.
Yeah. But
very secret lingo.
Yes, it's like
telling without telling.
Yeah, he's hinting at it, but again, Jace is preoccupied, so he's not paying full attention to for every word that's coming out of his mouth, essentially. So again, very good. The subtlety in that, the subtlety in the writing and how they acted it out. I'm telling you, this is like, it's so high caliber, the series.
Yeah, you don't expect it. You really don't. It kind of it just kind of hits you out of left field how like deep some of these interactions are.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's solid.
Yep.
It's the best word I could say for it.
Yep.
And as we're seeing that kind of crazy stuff, we do get back to the underworld stuff, and you see like these other little mini bosses, and they're basically looking to overthrow Silco. They want to turn over the gem and Jinx, because right now everything's being locked down. They can't do business with Topside, and it's pissing them off. They're losing a lot of money.
Can't lose profits, Vinny.
Exactly, because they're feeling the hurt more than anyone else, because again, Silco's the one with the bigger money. Basically he's a major manufacturer of this stuff, and he's got deep ties into everything. So as they're kind of talking about that, and they're like, yeah, we need to turn her over. Like, he goes, listen, it's better to have some business than no business at all, type of thing. So this Asian guy, he's got like this gold medal jaw. And he's wearing like these fancy kind of looking clothes, almost like pimp clothes. He's very, very cocky. You could tell like the way that they did his hairstyle and everything too. Like, he's very full of himself, very douchey. So you have like those other little kind of underbosses.
Very Asian.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, as they're talking, very Asian for sure.
Very Asian.
As they're talking in this room, there's like a fan overhead that shuts off, and the doors open up, and Savik is there, and Silco's got a box in his hand, and he's like, so because we don't normally meet on this day, and what do you guys think that you're doing here? And as he's talking, Savika has a gas mask on, and she's kicking these canisters down the table, like on the floor beside the table, and they all start coughing and gagging nonstop. But Silco isn't. He's breathing just fine. He has no mask on, and he's talking to them like, see, he goes, you people, you forget what it was like, or some of you are too young to even know what it was like before I made this underground so prosperous and everything. And he's like flexing his muscles, and as they're going down the table, he's opening up the box and he's kind of tossing masks towards each of them, but he leaves the Asian guy for last. And that guy, he basically falls out of his chair coughing, and he's begging and crying, please give me the mask, give me the mask. And he's like, you don't recognize this, do you? These are the fumes of the mines that we used to work, these poisonous mines that we were all in. This is what I got us out of. And he goes, sometimes you need a refresher. Like, he is flexing his muscles on them. He is showing his power play. And so he takes one like swig of air through the mask, and then he throws the mask at the Asian guy who's, barely, he's just like breathing finally with it on. And he's like, he goes, it's basically, it's a reminder of who's in charge kind of thing. Because like, don't you ever forget it. So I that scene was so great, so powerful, so boss like for, a villain of a story like that.
Yeah.
Bro, AC/DC, who made who pops in your mind watching that scene. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Big time.
It's excellent. It's so good. So I think, and I love how the jumps that they're doing too. So we'll have the underworld. They'll cut back to like, top side and tilt over. And now we have Mel and her assistant, and they're talking about Jace, and they're saying he isn't ready yet. You could tell that she's still like manipulating him, but she cares for him. You could tell that something's still there. It's not just that she's being a cold-hearted bitch and trying to manipulate him. She does genuinely care for him. And they do have a relationship that's going on. It's pretty good how they do it. But as that scene's about to finish, her assistant hands her a message with like a seal on it, like a family crest. And Mel's face is like, she's like kind of shocked and scared. It's like on her face. But we do get back to Caitlin in the underground. Her potato sack is finally off, and someone's trying to give her like food and water, like one of the kids from that underground part. And she's sort of like in her own little. It almost looks like a vault inside of like a vault, the way that the door is.
Yeah, it kind of looks like. I can't remember which episode it was, but
like
they were on
a silo.
Well, it was when they were on the airship, and then Locke got locked underneath, underneath the ship. It kind of looks like a place like that.
A little bit, yeah. It is kind of cool because like that door that's right there, though, it leads out into like where the big area with the tree is in the sunlight. But she's like flipping out at them, and like she kicks over the water, and Vi's like leaning on the door there, and she's kind of giving her like some sarcastic line or whatever, She's like, "What? You're free?" Like, and then Echo's like, "Vi here. She tells me that I could trust you." He goes, "You'll get a pass because of Vi, but yeah, we're gonna bring you straight topside." Like, he doesn't want anything kind of to do with her, but he doesn't want to see her harmed either, because Caitlin is clearly a friend of hers, of Vi's. So, and they've helped each other. So I mean that again, I like the dynamics that they have there and between all of them. This next scene's crazy. So we get back to Silco, and he's sitting in his office, and he's got that thing to kind of to poke into his left eye, that Jinx usually helps him with, and he's like kind of flustered, and he's trying to. You can see a lot's on his mind, but he's trying to work the stupid thing. When Jinx he's basically confronted by her, and she jumps down, and she calls him out for lying, and she's on top of him, and she starts like. She's questioning him, and as she's questioning him, she's stabbing him in the face, like all different places in his face.
Yeah,
this is fantastic.
Don't move, silly.
Yeah, she's going all psycho on him, and you can see he's scared of her, but he's still like he's convincing her, like you got to complete the weapon, like nothing bad was gonna happen. Listen, I had to lie to you for this reason and that reason. Like you don't know what was gonna happen, and. I don't forget, I saved you, when she left you, she walked away from you, and he's sort of making sense, but she could tell with her, she's still fighting both because she still loves her sister. And she does love him as like his father figure because he did raise her. So she's a very torn character between all that. So as she's kind of like stabbing him all over the face, he's slowing down, and like it's finally it's sinking in, and he's like, I need you, Jinx. Like, when he finally convinces her, that's when she's like, she pops him in the eye real quick, like what he needed anyway, and then like she's already gone, like she vanished, and he's like sitting there, like that crap's like leaking out of his face, and he's trying to keep his calm, like he knows she's losing it, But again, he does need that weapon to be finished. That her basically her Hexgate weapon. Because again, she's very smart. She's very capable. So let me see. Yeah, so we do get back to Caitlin, Echo, and Vi, and they're talking about the gem and the importance of it. And Echo wants to use it. He goes, we could defeat Silco with this. And she's like, this is going to cause more wars and more death. Like, she is being convincing with that on that regard. So Echo, he's kind of like, he goes, you have a plan, and she basically goes, I do, and I have a friend who's on the council, and she's referring to Jace. Basically how this all started, and kind of like little man there with the tip that if we go all the way back,
yeah,
this is his fault.
He is the jackass that started all of this by giving them the tip about the guy that came and bought the stuff that didn't haggle, and he paid full price.
I know there's so much good stuff in here. So many like layers between these characters. But so Echo's like, okay. He goes, if you got this plan and all that, he goes, fine. It was one condition though. I want to be able to give it. I want to give the gem to him, and like basically he wants to like clear his name in front of the council, because right now they think it's the Fireflies due to Marcus and Silco. They think they're the ones who killed all those enforcers and caused the bombs and everything. When we all know that it was Jinx, and Caitlin is well aware of that as well at this point. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, Victor and Jace, they're confronted now by Mel as they're kind of hashing things out, and she tells them, because we need to make weapons. Like, she's, for this note or whatever that she had gotten, she knows something bad is on its way, and she's kind of warning them, and we need them to defend ourselves at the very least. If we're not going to use them, we at least need weapons to defend ourselves. And Victor's completely against it. Victor and Jace are kind of arguing as she leaves, as Victor is trying to deactivate Jinx's bomb, the one that Marcus handed them that they think is the Fireflies. And as they're talking though, he's literally like, this is ingenious how the mechanics on this weapon, how they are, like, and no one else could really deactivate it, but Victor's pretty confident in what he's doing. And as they're having this conversation, again, these little moments that happen where Jace is basically like, we have to make these things, we have to make these choices now. And Victor's like, you can't do this unrationally. You have to make sense out of all of it. And as he says it, like, he hit the wrong thing on the bomb, and you can see like the fluid starting to mix in the bomb. And he's got like one wire that's kind of just slipped in between, and he's got his knife on it. And it's like it's mirroring what the discussion they're having is, like, you can't be impulsive, because if he was too impulsive, that would have blown up right in their face. Yeah. But he got the right wire that was hidden, and he deactivates it. And he goes, there's always a choice. There's always a proper option. We don't just have to dive into it.
Yep.
So I love that they have those moments like that.
Because it was all over making weapons.
Yeah.
While disarming a weapon.
Yep, while disarming one. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Tommy, what's up, brother? Always good seeing you, man.
Nibble.
Hope you've been resting up, man. Yeah, like I said, there's really good stuff here. Let me look at my notes again. So basically, yeah, Echo and the girls, they make their way topside. So, and as they're kind of walking towards that bridge, it's nighttime. It's kind of misty out, and there's a ton of those firelights. Because Caitlin goes, "What are all these things?" Because she's never really seen them before. And Vi goes, "Oh yeah, they're firelights. They're like these nice little, like, these little kind of glowy bug things." She goes, "But I've never seen this many of them down here." So, like, as they're walking, it's kind of lighting up a lot. And they're on the bridge, and as they're talking, because they're going to go now to Jason, the council, and they want to give the gemstone to them. And they basically, like, they want to clear his name and all that. And as they're talking, Vi stops. And she's like, "I need to go back." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, I know I could save my sister. I have to go back to my sister. And
yeah,
way up on the bridge, looking through like her scope, we got Jinx is watching them. So she's not underground right now. She's on the bridge, and she's pissed because she doesn't like Caitlin at all. She thinks Caitlin maybe got into the head of her sister. Like that. This is the impression she's getting because of her psychosis and all the manipulations that she's had from Silco and you know, and again, not being able to really talk to her sister yet. Just those little moments that we had in those other episodes. So as she's talking, as she sees them talking, you see Vi hugs Caitlin and kind of like wishes her luck. And in her head, she's hearing the voices of Milo and Klager. And she's kind of seeing flashes of them like over her shoulder, like two devils. And, and she's like, no. It's just a goodbye. That's all it is. Like, she doesn't care about her. Like, she's trying to rationalize what's going on. And, you know, you see Vi, she kind of goes back towards the underground because the bridge is pretty big. So we have Caitlin and Echo. They're midway when these big floodlights come on, and Marcus is there. And he was Caitlin. He's like, oh my God, yes, Marcus. We found out who's responsible. It's Silco. He's the one that's behind all of this. And we know at this point, as the audience, Marcus is completely in his pocket, in Silco's pocket. Caitlin doesn't know that until he pulls a gun and shoots Echo in the chest. Echo does have like these kind of metal pieces on him, like this kind of this armor underneath. So, but he gets knocked out. He's on the floor, and he like Caitlin's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, You could tell he's upset, but he's gonna have to take care of Caitlin. He's gonna have to take her out as well. And she's like, "You don't have to do this." And from the gunshot that was heard, Vi on the bridge, she was still on the bridge, and she heard it. She's running back through the mist. Going towards them, but she's still a good distance away. She can't even see them. When you see Marcus is pointing his gun in Caitlin's face, when one of the fireflies lands on his gun.
I love that scene.
It is fantastic.
You see that struggle he's having too, right?
Oh yeah,
because he's got the gun on her, but he just can't do it.
Because we remember in the previous episode, Silco threatened his daughter's life and his.
Yep.
So
he's not completely void of morality either.
He's not, but
that's the struggle you see though. That's the beautiful thing. It's so deeper than just what, you know, if you just watch it real quick. Okay, but if you break it down like what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, there is psychology in this cartoon.
Oh, there absolutely is.
Oh, definitely.
Because I mean, he doesn't want to do it, but listen, it's either going to be Caitlin or him and his daughter, and he's like, no, that's.
Trina, it's either this bitch or your kid. Bye, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's that perfect. Yeah, it's the perfect wording for it. I mean, and kind of sucks too for that character. But as he's pointing the gun, one of those firelights lands on his gun. They look all around. They're surrounded by them, and as it sits on his gun, you hear a clicking. It's the wings, and the wings open up, and it's making that monkey face of the one that Jinx puts on all the bombs and everything. And you have a faraway shot, and they all explode. You just see boom, 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 all over the bridge. It is fantastic.
I'm pretty sure that is a move in League of Legends.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a thing.
In there. Yeah, it was amazing. So then out of all that, like the smoke is starting to clear in the dust, and you see Jinx, she's on the bridge, and it's kind of like when we first see her as an adult when she walked out on the barge. We're seeing it like that. She's walking out onto the bridge. And at this moment, I absolutely fucking loved because she's humming the song that she had to sing when she was a child in the first episode in the opening.
Mm-hmm.
When Vi's, you know, she's holding her hand and she's walking her through, and Powder had her hands over her eyes, and she's like, sing this song so you don't have to hear anything or see anything and keep your eyes closed. Now she's humming that same tune. I thought that was so poetic as she's now walking on the bridge and shooting anyone who's alive. Like, oh, it is so dark. It is so great. That type of shit I love. And that's what I mean. Like, the storytelling is so strong in this.
Yeah.
And now you see her through what Echo was telling us about.
Yes.
Through his eyes.
Which is crazy. So, and as we see that, Jinx, she's walking over. She's humming the song. She shoots them. Kate is hurt. She's trying to stand up and she can't. And as Jinx is shooting the other enforcers, Vi gets up to her. Well, like she's just about up to her when we see Marcus, and he's missing an arm and I think a fucking leg. And he's like turns to her, like blood coming out of his mouth, and he's like, tell my daughter, and he can't even finish it, and he dies right there.
Oh, dude, I know. That was so sad. Tell my
It
daughter.
was.
Tell my daughter, and then just dies.
Yeah.
You're a
And-
piece of shit. This is all on you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Tell my daughter.
It's crazy. So Vi, she grabs Kate at that point. As she's up to Kate, Jinx sees her, like she's coming out of that other side of that part of the bridge, and she starts flipping out because in her mind she's seeing like Caitlyn who's wounded, and Vi's helping her because her legs all messed up. She's helping her to her feet. She sees a flash, like with her eyes X'd out and a big grin on her face, like she's having her psychosis, like that's the evil bitch who manipulated my sister, kind of thing.
And she sees them. She sees Caitlyn with devil horns drawn, like it's a drawn. I love the way they did it. How it's like drawn on.
Yes. Yeah, it's almost like if someone grabbed a photo and you just put devil horns on someone you didn't like in the photo.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
And they've been blacked out their eyes. Yeah, it's great. It's brilliant how they did all this.
Took that Kodak picture and turned it into a devil woman.
Yeah.
Like when you're being vindictive and seeing like you've got an old photo and you're like like vandalizing the person you don't like anymore in the photo. That's yeah.
So at this point, Jinx just starts shooting towards them, and yeah, that was great because then Vi and I guess she like pushed Kate away, and as she's kind of like they kind of go, one goes left, one goes right.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
And in the middle is Echo on his board, and like he just comes flying in on his board, and he takes that little kind of minigun, the Gatling gun, out of he knocks it out of Jinx's hands, and he swings back around and knocks out her other gun, and he's got like the crystal in like a little kind of containment unit, and he throws it at Caitlyn, and he goes, go give it to Jace or whoever you had to give it to. And he was, I'm like, he's gonna stop there, and he's gonna stop Jinx. And Caitlyn can't make it alone, so Vi's bringing her like off the bridge, like back towards Piltover. And so they're about to have a standoff, and that's when Jinx goes, "Oh, look who it is, the boy savior," which is also the name of the episode. And he like drops like his stopwatch thing, and they have like a kind of a showdown kind of thing on the bridge, like a Western
style, baby.
I loved it. So she stands sideways because I mean that's how you would do it in a duel, so that there's less body to hit. So she's standing sideways with her gun down. He's like, "Oh, okay, let's do this then, boy savior." And now we have a cut of when they were children, and they played a similar game when she had like her gun with like the Nerf balls in it, and he had like a toy sword in his hand. And like like the upside down posture strainer on his head, like we're literally seeing them as children, and like they're kind of doing it almost in that same graffiti style we saw in the opening of the episode. And it's really cool because like as he's running on the bridge, like you see like the steps in like what is blood, and it looks like it's paint, like pink paint instead, like with the kind of art style they chose. It is beautiful, and he's like flipping in the air as he's like dodging her bullets or shots. And by the time he gets to her, Jinx wins. She shoots him in the chest, and he's like a good 3 feet away. And like, you just see him drop his arms to his side, like I lost, and she's all smiling that she won. Now we cut back to them in present time as adults, and it's kind of similar. He drops his stopwatch like out of his hand. He's holding it by the chain. The timer's going. As he's making similar moves, he's flipping over her gunshots, which are way faster now. He's doing these awesome flips, and instead of getting hit, he does another dodge and comes down crashing on top of her with like this kind of like metal scepter thing he has in his hand. He knocks the gun out of her hand. He starts beating the shit out of her. Blood's all over the place, and he's down to like I don't know, he maybe got like 5 shots in. He's about to do another one, and he stops, and he sees the same little girl that he loved, back in the day when they were kids. And he can't do it. He hesitates, and she kind of slowly looks at him. She smiles, and then we have a close-up of her hand. She has one of her grenades in her hand, and she pulls the pin with her thumb and just rolls out of her hand. And both of their eyes like light up, or they pan over to his eyes, and we see again like that shot from behind like the bridge, sort of like the other explosion, the one big explosion with like pink smoke everywhere. It was a powerful scene right there too.
I love that was a great scene, and like RR said in the chat, like so when they stop the animation from them being kids and then they're in like present day, it is like he grows up,
Yeah.
like he's a boy no more.
Yep. I loved it.
Yeah,
It was so good.
Very well done.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I mean, they did such a good job. So,
Well, I mean, come on. You start off, you've got the ticking of the watch the whole time, and you got the beat of the music, and you go to that punkish style of art, right? From the anime to the punk style art is what I'm going to call it. That was just done beautifully.
Oh,
and then when it rewinds back, and it's just like, this is what's going through his mind is what I'm thinking the punk art is, right? Like,
yeah,
that's literally, yes, they're telling us the story, but that's literally what Echo, okay, I can do this. This is him building himself up right before he and then boom, there it is. Dodge, duck, then clack, and then holy shit, punch, and hesitate, shit bomb. I mean,
yeah, it's crazy because then, like, when we get back to, like, as the kind of smoke is clearing, we don't see Echo at all. We see his stopwatch that completely stopped, and it's broken on the bridge, and they pan over to Jinx, and she's out. She's completely out, and that's where the end of the episode. So it's like, did she just kill them? Did she just kill both of them? Like, herself and him. It was some great stuff right there.
And I was wondering with the pink if it wasn't just knockout gas.
No, there was more of an explosion there.
Yeah, that was an explosion.
We see in 8 the repercussions of that.
I just meant when I first watched it, that was my first take.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Again, I didn't really catch everything I caught but I caught more of the fact that it was a different color of smoke. So in my mind, I was like, oh, and again, when I go back and watch it, like, of course, you kind of realize it's more than just but again, I'm just going off first glance because, again, I did turn around and watch this like back to back and was like,
oh yeah.
Shit.
No, I hear you, brother.
I just had so much fun breaking it down myself. But that was like I said, just one of my first intakes too. And man, that was it though, with the different colors, if you will.
Yep. But yeah, she had a lot of different explosives and she uses different stuff. Like the Firefly ones the Firelight ones were all green. That one was a pink one. But she had the other bombs too that were she used pink ones like in the barge. But yeah, exactly. She was willing to sacrifice herself to win, which is great because when we do get back to that scene on the bridge in episode 8. You see what she won. So, but before I don't want to spoil that yet. But this one and I like how they do this too because we don't go right back to that moment. Now we start with Mel as a child. So the black sheep with the gold and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And now we get the introduction to basically her mother, Mbessa. And she's like this warrior woman who's like approaching, and we're not seeing her face at this point. So we see Mel as a child and she's being approached. She's like in a room that's sort of like like the council's chambers kind of thing. And there's like broken chairs and blood on the wall. And, but like this little girl, she's just like staring at all this stuff. She's looking around as she's being approached by what is basically like a female Thanos. That's the impression I get with her, throughout the series. Cause she's very strong. She's very manipulative. She's very evil, in how everything that she does. She's a conqueror. So
I felt very, very tribal, Grace Jones, if you will, from Conan.
Kind of, but
but definitely, a warrior woman that has battled with a head on her shoulder.
She's a leader of an army. So she's no one to mess with. But
and we know that little bit of the history from what we've been told, from what little bit she's talked to Jace about.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, because she was like banished from her hometown or her, where she came from. So in this kind of scene that we're seeing, so the woman approaches her and she's like, you know, like, what should we do about this? Like, you hear like breaking down the history of this place that I guess they just freshly conquered, and she likes the way that Mel is kind of breaking down, like how they could benefit the people there or whatever. And it's like, she's like, yeah, I could use you properly with this, and you know, you find out, yeah, it's basically it's her mom, and you know, because she wants to have, you could tell that she's gonna try to what's the word I'm looking for?
Manipulate.
Would it be groom? That she sort of like she's grooming her to be of a higher authority. She's trying to mold her into what she wants her to be, basically. Yeah, that's a better.
Yeah.
Better
No,
to manipulate. Yeah.
no, well, it's not. I don't. It's hard because it's not really grooming, because
No.
it's sort of like
Molding,
like a gauntlet.
molding her into what she wants her to be.
Because she's almost testing her at the same time just to see what her response is.
Oh, she's very much testing. Yeah,
you know,
because
what she wants, obviously.
yeah, because she mentions her brother too, and how her brother is like on board with this or something along those lines. But as we're kind of seeing her and being introduced to this character, we're still not seeing her face though. She's like all in the shadows, but she's just very menacing, overpowering character, especially to a girl who's like that small. But she brings in one of the survivors, which is another girl about Mel's age, and with dark hair and like this kind of, you know, not tribal, but a very unique kind of look. You could tell like they're obviously from different lands. And she goes, well, what should we do about her? And Mel right away goes, we should spare her. We should show her that we could be, and all the people here that we could be merciful. And Beth says like, no. She goes, why would we do that? She goes, because someone like this could come back even stronger. And she kind of like, she was about to order the guards to kill her, and she decides, she steps back and pulls out this kind of sword weapon, and as fast as lightning decapitates this little girl. And as we see her head is falling, it cuts back to her, and you see like the blood on her weapon, and she turns to her and she goes, a wolf has no mercy. And like Mel wakes up from like a cold sweat as an adult in bed, like screaming, basically having like a panic attack. And we see Jace is beside her in the bed, out cold, like he's sleeping. So, and we hear the alarms going off from the bridge, which again, everything just played out so perfectly in this. So Oh, anything else before I get to the bridge?
Well, that whole you got to be bold. She's trying to teach her that lesson, see if she's ready to go. And that point, she wasn't wrong though, right? Okay, if we let her go, we can kill one or release her in the number of thousands.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Preparing her for what's to come. Yeah, exactly. RR. Yeah, like I said, man, this is really good stuff, and I wasn't expecting that type of brutality, especially from like a grown woman to it. I think that's why they made it her mother and not a father figure. Because if we saw a male do that to a little girl, I think it'd be even more disturbing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But it's crazy for the mindset. Again, you can look at it from the mother, especially when you get to know more about the mom. But we're just basically basing this off of a warrior, because this woman is a conqueror. You know, she'd be right there with the Amazons. Okay.
Yeah. I'm telling you, she's just like Thanos. Same type of vibes, and it's not to say it in like in a bad way. I think it's really well done, the type of evil that she is.
It radiates evil, and I can't wait to find out why she banished her daughter, and now she's there at her daughter's feet. You know, so this should almost be interesting.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Yeah, because she's getting these nightmares because that letter that came, it had the insignia of her mother, so she is on her way. So that makes sense why she's having these nightmares. But then as the alarm's going off, you know, it's like when you know something bad's going on as you're sleeping, and like your dreams start to go towards that bad direction. And when you wake up, like you'll hear something crazy. And you're like, okay, like that makes sense why you were starting to get that nightmare.
Yeah.
Like it had that same vibe. Like they did it so beautifully. So
it was your spidey sense that you didn't know you had.
Pretty much. So we have, we cut back to the bridge now with the alarms going off. And we see Vi. She has Caitlin across, and she kind of puts her in an alleyway, and she's gonna try to run back to the bridge to see what the hell happened and if she could stop what was going on. But she can't. The enforcers come running by, so she kind of pins herself more into the wall in the alley. And as she does, Caitlin realizes that the gem isn't inside that containment unit. And we cut to the bridge, and Silco's making his way to Jinx, and she's holding the gem in her hand. So she got it out of the containment unit before Echo was able to throw it over to them. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, how fast she was in stealing that, and basically like that gift for Silco. So, and you could see how truly panicked and scared Silco is. Like he's basically losing his daughter because she's barely hanging on.
Well, again, she sacrificed everything to make sure she had it because she knew he would find her.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But so Silco he picks her up in his arms, and like he's she still has a gem in her hand and kind of like folds her arms over onto herself, and he takes her back underground essentially. And as that's happening on the other side, we see Jason Mel. They're there at the aftermath, and they see Marcus's body and all the dead bodies everywhere. And Jace he loses it. He starts puking off the side of the bridge, and he sees the mechanical firelight on the bridge, one of the wings of it, and he picks it up, and he sees like there's like that kind of little drawing on it. So we do get back to Vi. She got Caitlin back home, and she didn't know that it was her home. Like they come in through the window, and she's like, like whose fancy place is this? And as they do, the doors kick open, and her parents are there, and her mom's got it like her rifle in her hand. And, that was pretty hilarious, that moment. And they're like looking like, hi. She's like, oh, there you are, Caitlin, and you brought home a stray.
I would in the other room in private.
Yeah, which is pretty good. I mean, Caitlin's mom is more. She looks like she wears the pants in the family type of thing. But it
very
makes sense
Asian father.
But it kind of makes sense too because she's a council member, the mom. It's not just that she has money; she has more importance as well. So, but we don't know that much about her parents other than kind of what we're seeing there. And the father's kind of tending for the wounds of his daughter as they're kind of having an argument because like we need to talk. So basically, Vi is left in her bedroom while the other ones are talking like in the living room. It was interesting how that conversation was going. But basically, Caitlin wants to tell the council who's actually in charge. That it's Silco and what's really going on because now Marcus isn't there to protect him anymore. So her mom ultimately agrees with the father's persuasion, and she's like, "I'll get you a sit down with the council." So, but she goes, "You and your friend there, you have to be presentable and make a very valid case because this is war basically. What we're basically about to step into. It's a good kind of little setup that what we're kind of getting there. But Silco now he busts into Singe's lab, the Mad Doctor, and he's got Jinx with them, and he puts her down on the table, and he runs over. Can you save her? Can you save her? And he looks at her and goes, I can save her, but it's going to be very painful. And he's like, she could endure it. I know she can. So as he's kind of like looking over Jinx, and you can still see Silco's in a panic. Singe is calm and cool as shit. He's filling up one of his syringes, and it looks like he's about to hit Jinx with it. And he actually injects Silco in the neck. And he's like, I think it's just better if you are, a little more relaxed because what he's going to be doing to Jinx is probably going to get Silco very upset. So he knocks him out, and he sits down in the chair and blacks out, and we're seeing kind of like flashes, and he's like, I too had a daughter once, so I know what it's crazy. Like. And he goes, I'm going to do what I could to save her. So, and he starts injecting her with some crazy shit. We get montages of her screaming in pain, the purple veiny shit kind of going all over her body, like his special variant of Shimmer. He's doing other stuff. We don't know everything that he's doing, but he's got like his tools. You remember in Batman 1989 when the plastic surgeon has his tools all covered in blood kind of thing?
After
when he works
Jack. Yep.
Yeah. After fixing up, Jack Napier. It's kind of like that moment. I like that we get touches of almost like horror elements here and there. Like I said, it adds to the storytelling for sure. So, good stuff. What was it here? So, we do get back to Savika. Silko's right-hand man, chick, the Indian broad. She's she's fixing her arm, and she's actually installing a giant blade into it, which is awesome. I like her character. Something about her is like pretty damn cool. But as she's working on it, I hated what she did to Vander, but what she's kind of doing with Silco, she's a good like enforcer type character. But so that Asian kind of mob guy comes in with the guy with the metal jaw there, and he's trying to convince her, to leave Silco, and that he's blinded by Jinx and everything else that's going on there, and we need to make money, and there's a lot more money to be made. So you could see he's trying to plant the seeds in her head, and that's when we have the arrival of Ambessa, Mel's mother, on the airship, and Mel's questioning, like, why are you here? And she tells her that her brother died, that something happened, and basically she's trying to say it's her fault because she wasn't there to oversee, I guess, like whatever operation. She's like, we need more powerful weapons, and she's kind of breaking it down to her, but she's not pouring it on. She's being a little bit more nonchalant about it, but kind of giving her enough to be like, like, I know what you're doing here, and we need weapons, kind of thing. But as she does, basically she says that we need this hex technology, we need this weapon, we need these weapons, and that this guy Jace, or whoever's involved, he needs to be working faster. She doesn't quite know everything yet, but she knows a great deal of things. So it's almost like someone was telling her, we're getting that vibe, which we can pretty much guess who it is at this point. But we are back with she grabs like one of those
try the local cuisine, dog.
Yeah, basically, like she's gonna go have her fun as she's gonna scope out the area and kind of see what's what, because she has her own motives and why she's really there. So we do get back to Vi and Caitlin. Where are we here? Where are my notes?
Where did you leave off? Caitlin returns to her bedroom where Vi is.
Yes, that's where we are.
Wait. Did you already cover the male escort?
She's trying the local cuisine.
Okay, that's what you meant. My innocent mind thought you actually meant food.
Right now, Trina's like,
not okay.
Man, this Blues Brothers weed's really good. It must really be affecting you.
Oh, it's funny shit. Oh man, but we do get back to Vi and Caitlin. They're in her room, and now is like when they're kind of connecting, which is, it's pretty good, because like basically Vi is telling her of like when her and her sister were kids, and it's almost like the comparison between like the poor and the rich, but they were still kind of making do with what they had. And then at the same breath, she's like, I promised my sister I'd always be there for her, I'd save her, I'd protect her, and when a monster actually came, I failed her. And like you can see, like they're connecting on a deeper level, which is good to see. And how they like, again, how they're doing this it's very natural to the story, So but yeah, I thought they did a great job. Tommy says, I have no interest in a show that is not up for Slashers McSplitter's Grapey Award. Yeah, oh my God, the last bunch of movies we saw, it's just like Grapey after Grapey after Grape Scene, from Death Wish to the girls in the prison. Oh my God. Those were fun though. Those movies were still fun. I forgot how much the 80s loved putting that shit in the movies. Oh my God.
83, baby.
Yeah.
It was so gratuitous.
Oh my God, yeah. But all right, so where we get back to the girls there. Oh yeah, Silco, he's kind of coming too. Let me see. Yeah. Oh yeah, because as Jinx was like, she's being treated by the Mad Doctor. She's getting like, you could see that she's like hallucinating. She's seeing Caitlyn, like evil versions of her. Like we see almost like the back room of where Vander's bar was, and like the door opens up, and it's like when Vi was telling Jinx, like you have to stay behind, it's too dangerous. But instead, Caitlyn's with her, and she's like, yes, because I control your sister now. It's like she's like, you've seen these mind games that basically Jinx is having in her own head while she's getting, pumped full of all this weird serums and shit.
Yeah, that chick has massive psychosis.
Yeah, it's really crazy. They did a really great job with her though, especially like, when we get to season 2.
But they let you know, that,
yes,
again, and they do it so well when they shadow the
Yeah.
boys.
Oh yeah, it's powerful stuff. The visuals are so great. But yeah, because basically she's just seeing that this Caitlyn is corrupted Vi's mind is how she's seeing it. But as Silco comes to, he sees that the table Jinx was on, she's not there anymore, and like he's still kind of in a haze, and he grabs like one of the scalpels or something, and he goes to attack Singe. Like he's got him by the throat. He goes, "What have you done?" And he just looks at him and goes, "I saved her life," and he freezes. And now we cut back to Heimerdinger, and he's in the underground, and he's got like a little hood on so people kind of recognize him or know who he is. He's so tiny, like people are like, they kind of like try not to step on him, like, "Hey, watch out, furball," like all that type of shit, which is kind of funny. And he's trying to help the people. He sees people that are too far gone, someone like basically drug addicts asking for change, and like he's kind of almost like afraid to go near them. But then he sees like a cute little girl who's kind of dirty, and she comes up to him and kind of like a little kid who just found a cute little puppy or something, and he like smiles at her, and she hands him like a couple of like bolts and whatever junk she found on the floor.
Yeah, a couple of like nuts and bolts.
Yeah, stuff like that. And he basically goes, he puts his hand up like a magician, and he kind of like moves his hands around, and he makes a little spinning top.
Mm-hmm.
And she's looking at him, and he's like this, and he spins it in his hand, and you see she's like all happy and excited. When the mother comes over and like just yanks her by the arm, "Get away from him!"
I mean, you can't really blame her, because I mean, this is a tough.
It's a very
tough world.
Yes. You don't know if there's a nefarious thing happening or not.
Yep.
But and you can see like he's disappointed. Like these people are so far gone, and things are so horrible down here.
He was like, "Damn, tough crowd." Yeah,
exactly. He's like, he turned to Rodney Dangerfield. "I get no respect down here. No respect." So basically, he's like, "I don't think I can help any of these people." And he's like he wants to make his way back topside, but he's like on the lower part. He's like by the bridge, like underneath, and he stumbles upon Echo's board. He picks it up and he's like, "This is a really ingenious design." He goes, "But he talks about the pitch of it, that it's way off." And then you hear a voice go, "Actually, no, it's correct, because the pitch of how I actually use it, like it's better for him how he navigates." And he goes, "Oh," he turns around and it's Echo. We find out Echo's alive, but he sprained his ankle, or he twisted his ankle real bad when I guess he jumped off the bridge to try to save himself. And he was stuck there like all night, because he goes, "I can't, if he gets out further, if the enforcers see him, they're going to take him in. So he needs to figure a way of getting back." And he's like, "Aren't you Professor Heimerdinger?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, I'm just Heimerdinger now." But basically, like, they start to bond, and basically Heimerdinger is going to help him get back to where he needs to go, like the underground, like his little hideout. And you could tell that they're connecting. And Heimerdinger is very impressed by the skills of Echo and how he made his kind of hoverboard thing, which is cool. I like those two characters, and they work pretty well together, I think.
Mm-hmm. I love Heimerdinger. He's my favorite.
Yeah. He's good. Oh, yeah. He's good. The voice actors do such a great job with him too. All the subtleties, like when he's sad or when he's super excited, like they did such a good job with the animation and all that, because he's not a human. He's like some kind of like little furry creature kind of guy. But he's older than he's like a couple 100 years old. So let me see. Yeah, we get back to Mbessa, and she's basically like in the bathhouses, and she has no shame whatsoever. She's laying there like a boss with her legs open and her tits out and everything.
It's kind of disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah, we're not seeing anything, thankfully.
No.
Like, they were very
No, I like that.
They're tasteful. Even like when they had like their sex scenes and stuff, they were tasteful, borderline beautiful at how they did a lot of the stuff. So
you didn't have to see it to know what she was doing. And if you don't know what she was doing, then you're not old enough to know what she was doing.
Yeah. Basically. So what's that?
Thank you.
Just telling Adam that was well put.
Yes, I think so. So she's having a conversation with Jace. Like, I guess she called for him. He's there, and he's like, he doesn't want to look. He's like, what is this? What's going on?
I don't want to see what the woman I want to be with is going to look like. Ooh.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, essentially his mother-in-law ish. He's like, I've already seen the goods on her. I don't need to see the mother's goods. What is this? So,
man,
he's saying it. She's like pulling like a power play basically too, because that's why she's kind of doing it with this no shame thing. And she basically tells a story of how the emperors back in the day, like what was it? How she put it exactly? Of they used to almost like communicate like with their eyes closed, not to something along those lines. Like it doesn't matter because she has a rag over her face as they're talking. Like you don't have to look them in the face to feel them out. It's almost better that you don't, kind of thing. But anyway, she's trying to do a power play over him and basically saying that we need those weapons. We need this hex tech technology, whatever this shit is. And she and indirectly and sort of directly just threatens him when she does stand up like he's about to leave. She stands up and goes over to his ear and kind of just she talks about another emperor who was blinded by trying to do the right thing and not preparing, and that he got slaughtered, and you don't want to be slaughtered as well, type of thing. Like she pretty much threatens him. The council now they're arguing and stuff, and Jace, he actually says that he does want to make the hex weapons because he sees all those people who died on the bridge. He's seeing the death and destruction of all the people in the underground, they're all poor and everything's all fucked up. So like he doesn't really have to be sold on this, but he's kind of pushing it forward faster than anyone else. And Mel's kind of surprised at this point because she knows that he kind of wanted to, but at the same time was listening to Victor. She wanted it too, but now that her mother's there and that her mother wants it, she's kind of hesitant now. So I like they have all these kind of back and forth things. And even in Mel's own head, she was gun-ho for it. Now she's hesitant because her mom's there. But now she sees how much Jace is pushing forward. It's,
so much conflict.
So much conflict, mix of emotions all over. It's good stuff. That's when Caitlin and Vi walk in. They're talking of Silco. He's the guy who's behind it. And the other council members, they're either playing dumb or don't believe it. And they're like, well, he's been investigated already and cleared. And you're like, but who investigated him? A crooked cop, our sheriff, Marcus, who's dead now. You know? So Caitlin,
you can feel the oh shit moment when that bomb dropped too.
Oh, for sure. And Vi's like, are you people serious? Like, she's like, what the hell? And they're like, well, and they think that they had the Fireflies. She goes, it's not. And Caitlin pauses on behalf of Vi. This I thought was really good. It's kind of subtle too, where it's like she's like, well, who made the bombs then? And she kind of waits for Vi to say it, if Vi's going to say it or not. And she goes, it's someone called Jinx who works for Silco. Like, she doesn't say it's her sister, but she does say it is someone else. It's not the Fireflies. So Caitlin kind of just, she plays with her from that point. She doesn't say that they're sisters. She didn't say any of that. She keeps her kind of secret there, which I thought was really solid too. You could tell they care for one another. So like I said, good stuff that they put in there. But Vi,
because she could have said it's my sister Powder, but instead she uses her new name and pretends to like not really know who she really is.
Yeah.
After having seen it with her own eyes.
Yep.
Yeah. It's good stuff. But at that point, Vi snaps at them. She comes right into the middle of their table there, and she's like, like, are you people all retarded? Like, there's bad stuff happening right now. She's like, we need to fix this. And like, you can see the council members don't give a shit. She's like, I don't believe it. She's like, well, maybe this girl, she needs to be escorted out or whatever. And as Vi's like, well, fuck you people. And she's leaving. It's never going to change. And as she's leaving, Kate looks over at her mother, and her mother sees like, yeah, she nods her head like, yeah, go for it. You don't have to stay here. So she runs out. She tries to stop her. And she's like, listen, there's nothing that's going to change their mind. She goes, this is what always happens. These council members are always like this. They're never going to do the right thing. It's always going to be for their benefit. They don't give a shit about the underground. She's like, go back to your castle there. You're so rich, and, stand guard, be what you got to be. Forget about me. She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, we're like oil and water. It's better if you just forget about me. I need to try to save my sister. And she's just like, she just walks off into the rain.
Oil and Water happens to be the name of this episode, too.
Yes, that's another
great
thing. Yeah, they did the thing. I like that they do that. It works.
Yep.
It's really good. Again, I love what they're doing. So now we get back to Victor, and he's he's playing with the hex core thing. Because did I see that in the other? Did I miss that? Which one was it? He was actually carving runes into the metal contraption on his leg.
Yeah.
And he busted out the shimmer, the advanced shimmer stuff.
That happens. So first Victor is standing at the docks. Did we already do that?
I think I missed, because a lot of it I was just recalling it to a certain point. I was recalling. Okay, hold on. When the bridge stuff was happening, I believe Victor was messing with that with the syringe and with the kind of magic runes in that that magic Rubik's Cube thing, the hex core. He was messing around with that. I know they were doing a montage between Victor and I think that scene on the bridge, if I remember correctly.
So on the docks is when we see Victor kind of like he had been messing with his leg and like print like carving runes on his body and stuff like that. And then,
I did miss it. It was in the other episode.
Yeah,
I was looking at my notes. Okay, so we'll jump on it real quick. Yeah, basically he used that what Singe gave him, that kind of more advanced version of the shimmer, mixed with the magic stuff, the runes, and then he cuts his hand as well. So he's got like that purple veiny shit popping up all over him as he cuts his hand, and because he saw that the blood, the hex core reacts to organic material like that. So now mixed with this stuff, the shimmer stuff and the magic runes, he thinks he's able to stabilize it. So when he does have a crazy effect that happens, and like his whole, like his wounded leg is like all metal and heavy. Like it's like a mix of magic and science basically onto his own body. And yes, at this point, you're right. Yeah, now he's like on the docks by himself, and he feels like he could walk more properly. And he drops his cane, and he's like running. He sees that it's working. This stuff, the mix of the hex core, the magic rune stuff, and the shimmer and all that. So it changed his body, and he feels like it could possibly save him. So like a drug addict, he becomes obsessive over it, and he goes back to his office, and he starts carving not just these runes on the leg anymore. He's carving it on his skin, on his chest, and everything. He thinks he could possibly save his own life. So the magic, the hex core thing is kind of going crazy, and he's at a point where he's trying to shoot himself up with more of that stuff, and he doesn't have any more. But the hex core is going ape shit because it senses like he's already cut his hand or whatever. And as he's doing that, we have his assistant, the chick who's got a crush on him, with the nerdy girl. Sky, that's it, with the glasses. And yes, she's kind of like, she's in her own head going like like a girl with a crush, like, oh, like Victor, oh, I'm so like impressed that she's walking down the hallway towards his office, like reciting what she's gonna say to him, basically, and how she's so enamored with him. But by the time she opens up the door, she sees this magic source like pulling him in. He's not even paying attention. He can't. He's being sucked into this thing, sort of. And she runs over to try to save him. She grabs him around the waist with both arms and tries to pull him away. And as she does, he finally notices her, and he's like, "Oh shit! No! You got to leave!" And it starts to disintegrate her and pull like her essence almost into the hex core. It is a wow. It's a crazy scene. And basically, like, her clothes, everything drops to the floor, and it's like a pile of dust, and her papers everywhere. She dies. She gets pulled into this thing. She's like not eviscerated.
She like kind of like spaghettification.
Yeah, it's sort of like disintegrated, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was like horrific, and he's on the floor like in shock, in horror, and like crying. He can't even get up. And his hand that he cut, like, that's all turned like into that metalish material, like his leg. And he's like crawling on the floor towards her and like putting his fingers through her ashes, essentially, and just in complete horror. But yeah, he killed her. Yeah, it's wow. It was something else. Like I said, there's a lot of big moments in this series. Yeah, it's pretty heartbreaking stuff. So yeah, Jace, she actually, I'm sorry, Jace actually is confronted by Vi. He's like back in his, where he's making his hammers and shit. He had just finished making this giant hammer weapon. When she gets in there and she's like, basically, she was, listen, you're the only one who wants to actually stop Silco and go after him. You're the only one who made sense out of that whole council. And he was like, it doesn't matter. We can't do anything without their approval. She's like hell, we can't. Because they need help down there. We need to stop them. Silco's going to get even worse. He's going to get stronger. And, she's sort of convincing him. And as they're talking, he's got his Atlas gauntlets are there. And she walks over and she tries one of them on. And he's just like looking at her as he just finished making his giant hammer weapon. And she's like, oh, I used to know someone who had something like this before. And she's digging it. And she's like, so what do you say? And she basically sells him on it. Like, yeah, if we get a group of enforcers and we bring some of this hex tech down there, I think we could take care of us. So they kind of they shake on it. And I thought it was pretty cool too, because like his hammer weapon is fantastic. That thing is so awesome. Yeah, where are we?
That's exactly what they're called too. The Atlas gauntlets or Atlas gloves.
Yeah,
that's what they're called in the game.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love how they did all this. Because he was making that invention for the miners. It'd be easier to destroy the coal and everything. But yeah, it's awesome stuff. And I know there's a few other things that did it, I think, before League of Legends. Joe Mad, he had his Battle Chasers comic book, and he had a little girl with those oversized gauntlets as well. They were magic gloves. So I don't know. I always thought it was kind of cool when they do stuff like that. But it's very much this similar style as well. But
I don't know if I don't know if that hammer that we see Jace using right now is his final hammer, but in the hammer that he uses in game is called the Mercury hammer. Nice,
that is cool. Yeah, the thing is, there's a lot of cool features to it, and yeah, we're going to get into that now because they agree to work together, and they want to shut down the manufacturing there of that crazy shimmer drug. So they get down there, and you see like this kind of giant facility, and giant vats of shimmer, and they're kind of like putting them in barrels and stuff. And the enforcers bust in, and they're trying to arrest them all. And a kid runs over and hits an emergency button. And when he does, you see deep under that facility, there are like these basically like super soldiers in these giant suits, and like they're filled with shimmer, and they just come running like out of like the darkness, and they're attacking and slaughtering the enforcers. And Jace is like there with his hammer, and he with his hex tech, he's the only one who's able to stop them. The regular guards couldn't do shit. They were being massacred, and he starts taking them out. And right when he's about to get hit, you see out of the air jumps Vi with the Atlas gloves on, and she just like smashes one of their faces in, and they're back to back, and they just beat the shit out of everyone in there. It is fantastic. So it's like an army of these guys, like in these like super suits and these drug heads, and there's like these sharp knife weapons and blades coming out of their like suits as well. And yeah, they're kicking ass. And Jace, he changes his hammer into like almost like a slight transformation. It's like this blasting gun. He starts shooting them out of the air. They're pounding them to all living shit. And Jace is almost like got like a bloodlust of how he's killing them all. And he accidentally shoots a kid right in the chest, shoots a hole right through him. And the kid he stops and he sees the kid falls off the banister into the lower area. And he's just like, he's bouncing off shit and just slams into the ground.
To be fair about that, the kid this was battle, and that kid was in a suit battling.
Yeah. No, he wasn't in the suit. The kid wasn't in the suit. It was the kid, I think, who hit the alarm. The other ones were in the suit. That kid was out of it.
He would really?
Yeah, because Jace was shooting the ones out of the air and everything. And as he turned around, the kid was just like, what was he, a little bit more than waist high, and he just blasted a hole right through him. The kid had no suit on, no nothing. He wasn't on shim or anything.
Oh shit! I thought. Oh
yeah,
okay.
That's what that was extra heartbreaking about it. That's why Jace was like, he was frozen at that point. So basically, like the last of them get slaughtered or whatever, and yeah, he's in shock, complete shock. He wasn't looking to kill this kid. And as he's down there, they look up and some of the other enforcers are like kind of holding back. There's a bunch of other people on like a slightly higher level than them when they get to the bottom, and he sees that they're almost all kids. It's like a sweatshop.
Mm-hmm.
Silco was using children to make the shimmer and putting them at work like that, and that's when he's like completely horrified. Yeah, it was pretty intense. And in that moment, he doesn't yet even speak. Like, this is at the end of the episode. We cut over to Caitlin. She's in the shower, and she's just like she's like just resting on the wall as the water's hitting her, and her leg that was injured is like bleeding into the water. And she's just thinking about Vi, and she sees in reverse, like when she walked away, how she's walking backwards and then towards her and looks over at her. And she's like she's making up her mind, like, no, I'm going to go after her. I'm not going to let her do this by herself, type of thing. And as she exits the shower, she goes to look in the mirror and it's all fogged up. And she sees the outline of the monkey face.
Yeah.
In like the in the mirror, basically, like someone just wiped the like the foggy mirror when you get out of the shower, and it's that, and like she's just like in shock. That's how they end the episode. That Jinx is there, so pretty solid. I mean, yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that episode was fantastic. Yeah,
and the opening of 9, Jace is on his hands and knees, and he's standing over the body, and he's like, "We're done. We're done." And Vi's like, what do you mean? Like, you can't give up here. She goes, "There's hundreds more." Because one kid died. She goes, "You know how many others who are dying?" He's like, "No, I didn't sign up for this. I'm not going to be killing children." Like he's getting broken and torn completely from what just happened. Yeah. And Vi's trying to make reason out of him. She's like, "You don't understand. This is going to get way worse." And he's like, "No, I'm not doing this." And they nearly fight. She's like, "Take those gloves off." And she's like, "You're going to make me?" And he's like, he charges up like his hammer weapon. At least they're about to have a face off. And he like gives up at that point. He like walks away. And
yeah, he doesn't have it in him.
No, he doesn't. He's like, "What's the point? Even if I win, who cares?" Type of thing. So he turns to her and he goes, "You won't make it alone." And he kind of walks off, and she's all angry, and she kind of realizes he's kind of right, and she punches a giant vat filled with the shimmer. Like she destroys like the last of that whatever's in that facility. So yeah, we get Silco and Savika. they're talking about how bold the top side were. Like they get down there, they're in that area now. No one else is there, but they're in that place where Vi and Jason, all the enforcers, kind of destroyed their facility. And as they're talking, he's like, "Yeah, this was bold even for topside." And Savika's like, "Yeah, without Marcus, they're going to be even bolder." And that's when the mother of the child comes in and she's crying. She's actually one of the mob bosses, and she's blaming Silco for it. And he's like, he's not even hearing it. He's like, "Well," he goes, "this isn't all on me. This is everyone's fault at this fucking point." And he's like, he goes, because she says something nasty to him, and he's like, "Someone help her with the body, not with her son, not with her little boy. Someone help her with the body and get her out of here." Like, he just gives no fucks at that point. He just lost half of his product. So, we do get back to Victor, and he's still crying on the floor at this point over the ashes of the girl, and he picks up her notes and he starts reading them, and it's more heartbreaking shit, because like he's finally read what she really thought of him and how enamored she was with him and his genius and how much he's trying to help people. And like it is rough for him. Oh my God, Victor's getting like, there's a lot of shit there. Because she goes over how much she admired him and everything. So he picks up her ashes, and he goes down to the underground, and kind of a spot where he liked, like above when he was a kid, when I guess he first found like that cave area. He's somewhere around it's the slightly nicer part of the underground, and he dumps her ashes and goes like, I don't know what else to do. Like I don't know. He knows nothing about her, and no one knows that she's gone. So he's basically just like dumping her ashes there. And he goes, I hope this is what you would like. But he's so guilt-ridden, he's ready to toss himself off as well. And we have the same exact moment that happened to Jace when Victor saves his life in the other episodes, when, before he became a council member and everything, and they broke into Heimerdinger's office. Like, Jace was going to kill himself. Like, they basically took his whole life's work and left him with nothing. And we have now the opposite of that. We have Victor was about to throw himself off, and Jace stops him, which I thought was great. But
he's like, "Am I interrupting something?" Yeah,
the same exact way that Victor said it to him.
Yep.
So that was awesome. That's why those characters are so good, and it really is like this kind of this brotherly love that they have. And
how far we've came in 3 episodes.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's so freaking good what they've been doing. So where were we here? Because as they do talk, they kind of like he's breaking some stuff down to him, and he's like, "Listen, we have to destroy the Hex Core." He goes, "I can't do it. You're gonna have to be the strong one to do it." And Jace kind of he's with him on it. Like, he's not he's not saying no. He's willing to do it. He goes, "You have to promise me," and like he makes the promise to him. Because like I said, man, Victor, he blames himself for all that horrible shit too, and it's crazy because we don't know what's going to happen. And, they
should have listened to Heimerdinger.
Exactly. So where were we? We get back to Mel, and now you see Ambessa. She's sitting down in this chair, laying down, and with her drink in her hand, and Mel comes over and just smacks it out of her hand and tells her, "Stay the hell away from Jace." And Ambessa is like, she tells basically to calm down, that's not how I taught you, whatever the type of shit. And she's basically feeding her bullshit. And
did you catch the guard kind of like snicker about
the
it?
Guy with the mohawk?
Yeah.
He's good. He reminds me of what's his face from Street Fighter, Zangief. The wrestler, the Russian wrestler in Street Fighter.
Oh no, I'm not versed on Street Fighter. Okay. That's Tommy. You and Tommy's domain.
Okay. But he's a big dude. He has a very similar look with the mohawk and the the big beard and everything. Like, the character is good. He was like, "Oh shit." But And Bess is like, she's trying like to calm her daughter down in a bit. Like, yeah, like I taught you not to be, jumping to conclusions and whatnot. She's like, I know what you're trying to do and what you're trying to push Jason to. She's like, it's what you were doing anyway. I was just pushing him further and faster. Like, she's like, yeah, man. And Bess is she's a bitch and a half. It's great. But yeah, she's trying to mess with her head too to get the hex tech going. And
it keeps talking about her brother who's been killed and stuff, and she's trying
to sell her on it.
Yeah.
And she also to enrich the pot a little bit more, she also tells her, she's like, and I want you to rule underneath me. I want you to come back home with me. Because like when she banished her to this land where it's like there are a bunch of weak people, and she even says it like verbatim to her at one point during these episodes. Like, yeah, you said what was it again? These are weak-minded people that should be easily conquered anyway, or something along those lines. And like, and Bess is still like, she just plays it off like, yeah, I don't give a shit that I said that. Like in front of them too, almost.
She's like, and I'll do it again.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's hilarious. So let me see. All right, that one.
Like, what are you gonna do about it?
Right?
Nothing.
Yeah,
you can't even control your underground.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the other thing I was gonna say before I forget, because when he promises to destroy the hex core, he goes like, "But what about your health?" And he's like, "I don't care about my health at this point. Just do it. You have to promise you're gonna do it." I don't want to leave that one out, but now we get back to Silco's office.
That becomes important later.
Yeah, we get back to Silco's office. What's the Asian guy's name again? The mob guy?
Finn.
That was it.
Golden Jaw?
Yeah, Golden Jaw. Yeah, Finn. Yeah, he's like confronting Silco in his office, and Silco's kind of like, he's a bit distraught and feels a little bit defeated. He has yet to see Jinx after the doctor claimed to have saved her. And he's just like with his head sort of down by his table, and Savik is behind them, and she has like a big poncho on, and the mob guy is like trying to talk shit about how you're gonna die today, like we're taking over type of thing. And he goes, this is the thing I can't stand about you people. He goes, no one has loyalty anymore. And as he's saying that, you see Savik, like the giant blade is slowly coming out from underneath her poncho, and we had an angle from like the bottom, like worm's eye view. It's a great shot. And she's standing right behind Silco, like she's ready to just stab him through, and you just see her arm move with lightning speed when Silco says that. It's about loyalty, and fucking she slaughtered Finn. He's like, she puts him down with one swipe. He collapses, and the mother to the dead kid, the other mob boss, she's like horrified, and Silco looks up at her, and it's like, she's shitting her pants. He's like, I at this point I would have said, we're gonna kill your son, but that already happened. Get the hell out of my office, like to punish her. And she shit her pants and just like, yeah, she left. And that's when Silco goes to Savik and goes, Did you stop? Did you hesitate? Did you think about actually doing me in? And she goes, not for this little worm. Like, that she's that loyal. But she goes, things are changing, and it's going to happen fast.
I like the way. Okay, so the way she said it kind of piqued my interest, because she's like, she's saying she wasn't tempted. Not for a worm like him, but he won't be the last.
Yes.
Like kind of implying that she could be swayed.
Yeah, like get your shit in order. Like I'm still with you, but you need to prove yourself at this point type of thing. Because she did the same thing to Vander, remember? She was with Vander until she thought Vander wasn't going to fight. And that's when she went over to Silco.
Yeah.
So
and Silco's showing that he's kind of ballless too.
Kind of, but the reason why is because he's biding his time. He wants Jinx to know Jinx is okay, and that she's working on that weapon. He wants that weapon.
Yeah.
Because the hex tech is what's gonna make or break them all. Because he's at that point where if he has this tech, because at this point he doesn't know really that Jason and all them, like they're working on their own. because they kind of like when they did that raid and they took out that facility, he was unaware of what they did it with. So, but he still has that's how much faith he actually has in Jinx, which is actually, pretty amazing on that level. But let me see. Oh yeah, so now we have Silco actually meets with Jace. He goes topside. They're near the water, and they try to cut a deal basically.
Mm-hmm.
Silco wants a lot, and Jace is like, "What? I'm not giving you all this. Are you crazy?" And he goes, "Fine. You know what? If we're gonna broker peace and we're gonna do this, then there's a couple things I want." He goes, "You're gonna stop making Shimmer." He goes, "Well, I'm halfway there already, thanks to you." And he goes, "I want the Hex Stone back." And he's like, "Okay," so he's agreeing with it. And he goes, "And I want Jinx." And he goes, "Jinx worked for me. It was my orders." He goes, "I don't care. It doesn't matter. I want her off the board, basically." Mm-hmm. And he gives him his papers back that, for his peace deal. And he goes, "Until I have those things, there is no deal." And he hits Silco with it in the chest, and he walks away from him. So Silco has to do something now. So he's kind of now he's torn. He's in the position Vander was in with Grayson.
Yep.
The sheriff, the woman with their voice like that.
Yeah.
Those first episodes, and it's great. I love how they did this because
she has the voice of like a woman who's been like a 3-pack a day smoker for
for 45 years. That's a Lucky Strike voice. Is what that is. It's pretty great. So I love that Silco is in that same position though, because this is funny. He's sitting by a giant statue of Vander in the underground, and he's drinking like he's going over like the position he's in, and he's like eagles and daughters, like, oh my god, because he's at odds with it. And as he's having this conversation, you see like the shadow behind the statue of Vander, and it's Jinx, and she's leaning there with her eyes all glowing fucking pink, listening to everything that Silco's saying. He has no idea that she's there. Pretty great stuff there. Really good moment too, because we don't know what happened yet to her from what the Mad Doctor did. But because she's definitely changed from what we have seen previously of her.
And he says something like how a daughter is the undoing of a father, or something like that.
Yeah. Something that's not going to be pleasant for her to hear.
Yeah.
Again,
she's always a Jinx.
Yep. Almost like when she overheard Milo and Vi when she was a kid. Same type of flavor. That's why I like that they mirrored a lot of what happened in the other episodes. That's why I said it's so well written and it's so balanced the proper way. Or no, she's not like Big Mike in disguise. No. She's the same. She's the same stature and everything, but she's still the little Jinx. She's not a.
Do you know who is like Big Mike in disguise? Mel's mom.
Yeah. That you could say. Like I said, she's definitely the Thanos character, Ambessa. But again, she's well written. I do like how they did her.
Yeah.
Like I said,
like an Amazon.
Yeah, I think if it was a male character, I think it would have been more horrific for when she decapitated that little girl. I think it would have been harder to accept in a way.
Yeah.
Being a woman, I don't know why. If it sounds weird, it sounds like it almost makes more sense, or it's not as brutal. I
think it's equally because she's a mom, so it should be harder for you to kill a child as a mother.
It should be, but I think as like the audience watching it, like if it was a guy, I think it would have been way worse.
Which is sexist.
I guess. I don't know. But in that kind of world, the way it kind of plays out, I don't know. But she's a shit character, like a shitty character to begin with. Like, and shitty, I mean evil in all of her motives.
Yeah.
So, either way, like I didn't care if it was a guy or a girl, to be honest. So that's why I'm not hung up on it. Some people are. I could give a shit either way.
It's just part of the story. Why do people get hung up on stuff like that?
Exactly. But you also have the mother-daughter aspect that makes sense with Mel, because again, mothers and daughters, they have in certain parts of their lives more of that, the battling, a lot more conflict. Girls just usually have more of like the, the daddy's girl kind of thing a little bit. So maybe that's another reason why they went the way they did. But either way, it's still really good how they played this all out, especially when we get to season 2 and everything else that happens, because it amps up real fast. But this one, I like they took their time, because as we're getting closer to the end of this episode, there's some really powerful shit that happens. Again, the writing between the sisters and everything, it's really solid. So let me just double check where I was.
And then, did you mention how Jay said, like, if Silco complies with Jace's counter offer, that he'll have his quote unquote nation of Zon?
Oh yeah. That's part of what he wanted. Yeah, because Silco definitely basically wants to be like the king of the underworld kind of thing. So yeah, Jace was willing to give it to him as long as he gets Jinx the stone and they stop with the shimmer shit. So all reasonable, I think. The way that they do it. Yeah. Mothers and daughters fight. Yeah.
How big of a dick is he? We don't know.
Yeah. I have 7 first cousins that are all female. So I could yeah. I've definitely seen the fights between them and their mom.
Oh, dude, yeah. My mother and I, when I was a teenager, forget it. It was horrible.
Yep. That's usually how it is. Okay, so from this point, we get to we do see Echo. He arrives at like their kind of hideout with Heimerdinger, and Heimerdinger's so impressed, but he sees the tree, he sees some of the technology that these people were working on in there, and he almost feels like, oh, this is what I was looking for, kind of thing. When he first went down there, like I wanted to see if I could find people I could help. So he's kind of getting that vibe, and he really, like, him and Echo are really hitting it off. I like that they have that element going on there, because Echo he's smart. He's like Jinx. He's really good with like the tech stuff. And it makes sense too that they were kind of growing up together. So,
and also Echo was raised by that guy who owned like that pawn shop.
Yeah, Benzo.
Yeah, so he was always working on gadgets and whatnot.
Yeah. Which, again, really cool stuff.
Tinkering and
yeah. Oh, this was good too. Yeah, Vi, she goes down to Vander's old bar, which is basically Silco's hideout and all that is his thing, and his it's a lot different. But he's got all those super soldier bodyguards on the outside of it, and Vi essentially beat the shit out of all of them with the big gloves, with the Atlas gloves, and she goes into the bar. And she wants to fight Savika at like round 2 with her, and like everyone else, like Savika like tells them to get the hell out of the bar. Everyone, they flee, and the two of them start to beat the shit out of one another again. And the fight was excellent. Like their first fight, I really enjoyed that. This one was just as good.
Oh yeah.
Now that we have Savika with her superpowered arm, and we have Vi with the Atlas gauntlets on, and yeah, they're throwing down in a good way. I really dug it. Flipping the freaking pool table. Vi punched it towards her direction, and like the legs get stuck in the wall. So Savika's kind of pinned down on it, and then Vi runs over to go to punch it, and you see a blade come out of nowhere, like it's a fire blade kind of thing, like a hot knife through butter, and starts cutting up like part of the pool table. And Vi jumps back not to get sliced, and she kind of like she's in her boxing kind of defense. And Savika, like she's free now, and she starts swinging that arm, and it's doing like waves of like blade strikes, and the other one kind of deflects it with her gauntlets, and you see it like cut through the wall behind her in the bar, like massive. Like it's really cool they did it. Again, I dig that type of shit.
That whole scene, that whole fight is great.
It is. And Savika like locks up like the right arm of Vi and puts the blade through it and like kind of dismantles it, so it falls on the floor. And then she just like cracks Vi in the face, and Vi just turns around, blood flying out of her mouth, slams onto the ground. And as she's out cold, she's awake, but she's out of it, and you hear Vander, and Vander's sitting on the bar stool, like right behind her, going, I told you, you got to keep your guard up. So, and he's like, and he's going, listen, Vi, you got to get up. She still needs you. They all need you. You can't give up. And she's getting like her second wind. And as she stands up, you see him, and like she's in the foreground. We see in the back of her, and Vander's in front of her. And he goes, "That's my girl." And she turns around, and like she's like, "Let's go." And she goes to fight with the other one. The other one's still shocked because they're both really screwed up. And what's her face? Savika. She jumps in the air to come down like with a power blast on her, and the gauntlets did like a giant, almost like a shield kind of thing over Vi. And Vi was even like kind of surprised, and then blasts her back. And as she's going backwards, Vi grabs her by the metal arm and rips it out of its socket. And you see like all the fucking like the pink shit all over the place and blood. And she grabs her by the legs and throws her into the jukebox. So she won the fight. She spun her around and I think she spit out her tooth or something too during that fight. It was great. Excellent fight. Beautiful animation. And as she won, she kind of like falls to her knees screaming. And she's pissed, and she looks over the bar, and she goes to grab her other gauntlet, and as she goes to reach over, you see as soon as she pans over, Jinx is standing right behind her. She goes, "Well done, sis," and knocks her out. She grabs like the butt of her gun and knocks out Vi.
Yep.
Which I thought was excellent. So she saw the whole fight. Because the last thing I think Vi said, she goes, "Silco," like she's like, "I'm going after him next," kind of thing. And that's when Vi knocked her out with the butt of the gun. But yeah, it was good shit. So let me see, because we're getting at the end now. Fight, yeah, because he broke off the sword arm and all that shit too. Where was I? I lost my place.
Now Victor is accompanying Jace at a council meeting.
Is that where we are?
Yep. Jace is telling the council that he's no longer fit to govern. That he's not fit to govern the people of Zon, nor are any of them.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah.
Because they all start bickering and fighting.
Yeah, because he's telling them. Victor announces that Jace has brokered a peace with Silco in exchange for the Undercity's independence, and they're all like flipping out about that.
Yeah, because they said part of it is they're going to stop with their hex tech, and he's going to stop making shimmer. Like, and they're infuriated because the council members, they love the money that they're getting. Because we found out in the other episodes that they're making a ton of money with the import-export stuff that's going on with the hex gates and all that. So, they're pretty furious. Mel's kind of shocked as well, but she ain't saying much because Jace goes, "I don't give a shit what you guys have to say." They're all like in shock. He goes, "Except for you." Like he turns over to Mel and is like, "You've actually been supportive towards me, and I appreciate everything we're doing here. But yeah, we need to stop what this is going to do because more people are going to die, more kids are going to get killed. We can't let this happen." So as they're kind of arguing, the rest of this episode, it's them arguing in there while we're cutting now to Jinx, and she's got like a party table set up, like in the dark, which is great. Vi's strapped to a chair, Jinx is basically she's totally broken at this point, but she's like calm. You could see the effects of what the doctor did, like with her psychosis. It got so much worse, and she's almost now she has like more purpose almost to her madness. She's like at this table, and Vi opens up to Jinx basically, and about everything that's kind of happened, and she's blaming Silco for it, and and Jinx knows it. She knows that Silco was responsible too for Vander. And then he goes, and that he was gonna turn me in too. She says, like Jinx knows it because he goes, I know he tried to cut a deal, and Vi's trying to get through to her sister, and she kind of is, and at the same time, like they're in the darkness, and she goes, "Are we still sisters?" She goes, "Yes, of course we're always gonna be." She lights up like a lighter, and she tosses it across the table, and like with perfection, like every like candle like gets lit. and it goes all the way down towards, and you see at the end of the table, Silco's there. He's all tied up, and his mouth is bound too, so you can't even hear him. And she's trying to make her case as well. It's really good. The whole scene is really fantastic.
And she's got effigies of Milo and Clagger.
Yeah. She gave that metal kind of the like metal mannequin that she made of Milo, and then she got like the little doll version there of Clay. Yeah, she's the whole family's here. No, we're missing someone. And as she walks out, she grabs a big metal platter with the lid on it, and this reminded me of Hannibal.
Yeah.
Like straight up from the movie Hannibal when he has Ray Liotta strapped to the chair. Like this is what that scene feels like, and comes over with the platter, and she puts it down and goes, "Oh, by the way, I visited your girlfriend today." And Vi is horrified. She's like, "No." She's starting to flip out as she lifts the metal platter, and she goes, "Whoa. You think, sheesh, I'm not that crazy." Then she walks over, and you see she has she has Caitlin bound up in another chair, and she wheels her in. But I love this setup. It was like, is her head under there?
I know, that's what I was thinking. I was like, are they really gonna go there?
I was like, holy shit. But it was good though. It made for a good comedic moment too.
They even have Vi like turn her head and like close her eyes, like, no, I don't want to see it.
Yeah. She kind of like turned away. Yeah, it was damn good. Let me see. So yeah, because she yelled. And, I was like, yeah, I'm not that crazy. Jeez. So yeah, Silco, like she takes the kind of the thing that was in his mouth out, and he's trying to explain herself. He's like, she's gonna turn away from you again, and because Vi was saying we could leave. We don't need to be here. He's like, well, where would we go? And she's like, please, a day on the road, she'd realize what you are, and she'd want to try to turn her back away from you and everything again. So like they're kind of bickering, and Caitlin, she's like, Jinx she's far too gone, but she's looking at them as they're arguing. She sees like broken glass on the table, and she gets her hands to a piece. So as they're bickering, Caitlin actually broke free, and she grabs like that little mini Gatling gun. That Jinx has, and she points it at her, and she's like, "Put your hands up." And Jinx is like, she's not even fazed by it. She's like, puts the sad like the little girl with the puppy dog eyes. She puts her gun on the table beside her, kind of within distance of Silco. But apparently Silco is starting to break free as well. He's got a hand free. We don't know at that point, but because you see Jinx's eyes kind of like light up, and Caitlin's like, because Vi's like, don't, that's my sister, don't kill my sister, don't shoot her. And as she's getting distracted, Jinx moves with lightning speed. Like we've never seen a move like this. She moves with lightning speed, takes the Gatling gun, smashes Caitlin in the face. Like Caitlin like falls back on the floor, kind of knocked out. And as she does, Silco got his hand on the other gun. And like he's pointing it in the direction of the sisters.
Yeah, she used the Speed Force, like the Flash.
Yeah. Well, again, it's what the doctor did to her, right? Yep. She's kind of got like almost like super soldier serum in her now. Silco and Vi are kind of arguing back and forth. It's almost like an angel and a devil on either one of her shoulders. And Jinx is like, she almost like she falls down too, like she's having a breakdown. Like she's trying to make sense of it. She's trying to see who she's going to side with. And Vi keeps calling out, like, think about mom and dad, Vander, Milo. Like, as she's saying all this, Jinx is breaking down at that point, and Silco, he gets his hand on the gun, and he's pointing it at Vi, and Jinx right away she reacts, and she shoots the chair and spins her sister. And at the same time, in the same motion, she's kind of turning the Gatling gun towards Silco and just unloads. And then kind of like realizes it too. So she runs over. She's like, no. She runs over, and he drops the gun in his hand, and like, blood's hitting the floor all over. And it's one of those moments, man. And he goes, and as he's dying, he goes, I would have never turned you in. He goes, you're my daughter. And he goes, you're perfect just the way you are. And then he dies right there. And Jinx, like, she stops crying. She walks over because she had 2 chairs set up in the middle of all this. And one had powder written on it and one had Jinx. And she goes, she was trying to convince, she wanted Vi to convince her, like, do what you have to do, you know, walk away from all this, to kill Caitlyn if you have to, whatever, but don't you want me back? Well, at this point, she decides, she just walks over to the Jinx chair, and it's what you see here on my profile. Yeah, she sits in the chair like that. And
she taps that chair, and so it's written Jinx is on,
like
written
right
behind
her. Yeah,
and she taps the chair with her gun, and then sits in it.
Yeah,
like, this is who I am now.
Yeah, she made up her mind.
Yep.
It's crazy because she still loves her sister. She just took out her father figure, or her second father figure. You know, but it was like, you know, she saved her sister in the same moment, but, you know, took him out. So yeah, it's crazy. And that's as she's sitting in the chair. Jinx, she goes to Vi, because Vi goes, it's okay, and Jinx goes, I thought you could love me like you used to, but she goes, but you changed too. And she goes, well, here's to us. Here's to the new us. So Jinx, she gets up out of the chair. She walks over to her newly completed weapon, which is this giant cannon that's in the shape of a shark. This I know it's in the games and everything too.
Yeah, this is fucking cool.
This thing is so badass. I was kind of waiting for it too, because like I had drawn a piece of her a long time ago before any of this, before the series ever even happened. Because I at a convention, they said like the voice actors and shit from the game were going to be there. So I looked up one of the popular ones. I'm like, okay, I'll draw this. And so I knew about this weapon, but I didn't know that it was the ultimate weapon. She takes the blue gemstone and puts it inside of it, and this scene was great. The music was fantastic too, that they played, because as she does, she grabs a completed weapon. It's basically like the last act on behalf of Silco, and you hear her voice in his head when he goes, we'll show them all, when in the 3rd episode, when she thought her sister went away from her and he grabbed her instead of killing her, and he kind of adopted her. So that's the last thing she's hearing in her head is, we'll show them all. So yes, you see her walk up with that cannon. She goes up like this slight little bridge thing, and they're directly across from where the where like the citadel is of the counselor's chambers. They're like, you know, across the river in the shit part of town there. And so she picks up and she's pointing it towards them, and she's got tears coming down her eyes too. And she's like determined. She's headstrong in it. You see Caitlyn is kind of like, she got Vi out of the chair, like she came to, and they're trying to get out of there, and almost they're both screaming and shit too. Like, but you're not hearing any of it. It's all this music that's playing, and it's a beautiful kind of creepy music. And it's the lyrics on the song, and I think the name of it and the name of the episode. I am the monster you created. This song is so hauntingly beautiful and perfect for this moment. And it's like this slow kind of piano. It almost sounds like Sting, you know, like one of his songs. Like it's really good how they did it with like the piano playing and everything. So as they're playing this moment, Jinx fires, and the blast from this thing, the way they animated it was outstanding. And you see like this giant missile thing is shooting blue like magic fucking shit into the air, and it's like almost like in slow motion going over the lake. No one could do anything at this point. The other girls are trying to get out of there, and they're kind of walking this similar kind of bridge to try to leave. And we're seeing montages of other people as well. So we're seeing Echo and Heimerdinger, and they're sitting. And again, this is all with this eerie music playing, so we're not hearing anyone's voice. And we see where everyone is in the story at this point. So Heimerdinger and Echo, they're working on, like, you could see them kind of like they're explaining to each other like the mechanics of whatever the hell equipment they have there. We see Savika in Silco's office defeated, you know, and like trying to light up her cigarette with the one arm she still has. Vi and Caitlin were screaming and crying, like in kind of slow motion kind of thing. And Bessa, Mel's mom, is looking at Mel's painting that she was working on the last couple of episodes, and Mel threw gold paint across it, like she destroyed her own painting. And Bessa's kind of like looking over it, almost like sort of in shock as well, because she recognizes it's their home, or where they come from, and she sees that her daughter just is like infuriated with her. We see Singe, the Mad Doctor. He's looking at a photograph of his daughter, like in like a little, you know, like a locket kind of thing. And as they pan the camera back, you see a giant beast in the foreground, like a body of a beast hanging there. Kind of menacing too. It's a good shot. And then we see the counselor's office, and they decided they're going to go with Jace. You see them all voting, and they're putting their hands up. Like they're all in agreement. They're going to cut the deal with Silco. And as they're all happy with what they're doing, you see in slow motion, the missile now opens up bigger, and it's a giant smiling missile. As it's coming towards the glass, we're seeing the back of Mel, and like the gold on her back, like that kind of paint is kind of like lit up, like it's almost glowing. And she kind of, as she's turning over like her shoulder, like you see her face like over her shoulder, and now we see the outside of the window as the missile is connecting to the window, and it's cracking. As it cracks, you see the reflection of the smiling face of the missile all up on the broken glass, and that's where the end of the episode. I was like, holy shit. That was one hell of a cliffhanger ending that they gave us.
Yep.
I don't smoke, but at the end of that, I'm like, I need a cigarette. It was some powerful shit right there.
Yeah, that was great.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing what they did. Yeah, holy shit. Thoughts?
It was these episodes were fantastic. I don't know what else to say, but the ending was like wild. I did not expect that kind of ending. I really didn't.
It got so dark. We got so many crazy moments that happened, and how they're progressing the story, and the change between so many of these characters. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when this ended too, like right away, I'm like, what the hell are they even going to do with Jinx at this point? Like,
I know
she's so far gone. Now she's like super powered on top of it too, but whatever the doctor did to her. You got all these crazy moments happening. Powerful stuff.
And here, Peace would have worked. They were all ready to go with Peace, and look.
I know. And now we know that's over. So predictions, I think it's pretty obvious that there's going to be a war between the Topsiders and the Undercity. Who the hell is going to lead the Undercity? Probably, I don't know. Maybe I don't even know. Is it going to split off into factions? And I have no idea.
It's crazy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this since we're on this last one. We're going to switch over to Rumble. I'm going to play the ending for everybody.
Okay, cool.
Because then we can't do it over here. And I know it's mostly RR who's been here tonight. So, if you want to see the ending of this, just how powerful it is. And again, the music cues, everything here is it's fantastic. So, here's the link. Click on that because I'll close out YouTube now because I cannot play it here. If I play it here, they're going to hit my channel, which is funny because whoever put this up, I guess because their channel's so small, I guess they didn't knock them off. But RR, if you want to check that out, head on over to Rumble. So I'm going to close out YouTube now.